So when we're dealing with scatter plots, and especially linear or scatter plots with a positive or negative association, there's something called a trend line that represents all of the data points. The goal of a trend line is to have as many points above the line as are below it. Now this line just represents the data points, but it is not 100% accurate of all the data points. So here, the line that I would say represents the blue dots the best is the green line. So we'll change over to green. All right, the green line best represents the data. I would say it has about as many points above the line that are below it. All right, so here, which of these lines shown are reasonable for a trend line for this scatter plot? And the points here are mostly trending upward. Again, we will have some outliers, all right, like this green dot right there is an out, or this dot I circled in green is an outlier. I would say that line B, again, the green dot represents the data the best. So the green line is your trend line. So here's how we can find the equation from 2 points on a trend line. So as you look at this graph above, if you wanted to find the equation, you could of any of these trend lines, but you would pick 2 points that lie on the trend line. So here we are given 2 points. And if you recall from earlier when we graphed, we only needed to find 2 points, the y-intercept and the slope. Same thing goes here. So we want to find the slope of my 2 points. So it is change in y, so y2 minus y1, over change in x, x2 minus x1. So this will give me 20 over 4, which equals 5. So right there I have found one of the 2 points that I need for my equation, y equals 5x. So I found my 5. I found my y, or my slope. Now I want to find the initial value. Y equals 5x plus b. I want to find b. I need to pick any one of the 2 points I used. So I'm going to pick 2 and 20, where 2 is x, 20 is y. And I'm going to substitute those into what I have so far in my equation. So instead of y, I'm going to substitute 20 in, because that is my y value of the point that I picked. If you picked the other point, the 640, you will get the exact same answer. And now I'm going to substitute my x value, and I have just b left, because that's what I need to find. That's what I need to solve. And now I'm going to solve this equation right here. And now I have found my other point to be 10. So the equation of that trend line would be y equals 5x plus 10. Create a trend line from the graph below. Well, I said to use the points 210 and 416. So 210 and then 416 will be right there. You want to do our best to connect those points. There will be our trend line. Now we want to find the slope of the trend line. Remember, it's change in y over change in x, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, so 6 over 2, which is 3. Now we need to find the b for our trend line, and I'm going to pick the point 210 to use, where 2 is the x, 10 is the y. So instead of y, I put 10 in its place. Instead of x, I put 2 in its place. And now I solve for b. So the equation of my trend line, y equals 3x plus 4. So we want to draw this trend line of this scatter plot and find the coordinates of the 2 points on the trend line. So I wrote in 2, 3, and 7, 9. So you'll want to plot those points. Those were not originally on your graph. And I would say that's a good indication of the data of this graph. So first we need to find our m. Change in y, or y2 minus y1, over change in x. So there is my slope. And I get to pick any of those 2 points that I have just picked. So I'll pick 2, 3. Again, if you pick 7 and 9, you'll get the exact same answer, just your numbers will be a little bit bigger when solving. 2 is the y, or 3 is the y value, so I'm going to substitute 3 in for y. 2 is the x value. So now I'm going to begin to solve. 2 times 6/5 is 12 over 5 plus b. This can get a little bit confusing here, but I'm going to put these in like terms by changing 15 over 5 is another way to write 3, because 15 divided by 5 is 3. The reason I did that is because when I subtract fractions, which we talked about at the very beginning of the year, you need to have common denominators, which makes them like terms. So I get 3/5 is my b coordinate. So y equals 6/5 x plus 3/5. And that is my equation of that trend line.